All right, we are live on YouTube. I'm just waiting on the video to connect on my other monitor over here so that we can grab that link and put it inside of our free business mastermind group so that our members can meet us here on the YouTube live easily and conveniently. All right, it looks like that link is ready, so let me grab it. All right, I got that. So let me drop this in the group. Okay, that's posting and processing. So while it is, I'm going to go back and look at our YouTube live to check. Can I see the live chat so that those of you that are joining us here live, I can see you when you talk to us in the live chat because I do want you to be a part of the show. All right, it looks like that is good to go. So we can get started. Are you always confused about decisions like what offers, what features, what price, etc., are best for your potential clients? Does it seem like clients are hard to get, hard to please, and hard pressed to pay your premium prices? Today, we're answering the question, how can we turn cold leads into clients into an addition to our fanatical tribe for our brand? And so we're going to be talking about client first clarity in long term thinking that pays. And this is coming from this week's blog, Client First Clarity Turn Confusion into Consistent Cash Flow. Now, if you want to follow along, you can go to shaycannon.com/client. That's shaycannon.com/client. And I've dropped that link in studio and on the YouTube. So, we're talking about client first clarity. Now, when I had to sit here and think about in our last 2 weeks of the morning show where we're actually doing a blog post and doing it based on a blog post, because our very last week, we're going to do something else. And I'll tell you more about that later. But one of the things that I thought about that was a gap is I don't think that you guys understand how deep your knowledge of your client avatar should be, and therefore how you should be using it to be a client first type of brand. Okay, now this is also inspired by last month's movie club night where we I think the movie was Jeff Bezos Rise and Rain, Amazon, something like that. But it was a documentary about Jeff Bezos. And one of the things that was in his formula for success was being client obsessed or customer obsessed. Now, I'm going to call it something else, but let's get into it. All right. So, when Jeff Bezos built Amazon, his secret sauce wasn't just innovation, it was obsession. Not with products, not with profit, but with the customer. That same energy as a focus to rule them all for service based businesses is what I'm calling client first clarity. It's the difference between hustling to sell offers that barely land and running a business that practically sells itself. When you understand your client at their core, build systems around their transformation, and deliver with precision, you don't have to chase revenue because it flows. Let's dive into how clarity about your client's needs isn't just good service, okay? It's the answer to all of your decisions in your business and your most reliable path to consistent cash flow and long term growth, all right? So that is the blog. We got a lot more to share on this morning show. So let me go past this blog, all right? Now, in the show notes, you will get a link to a guide that I created that clients get from me when either they are building their own blueprint or I help them to fill in the blanks if I'm building their business blueprint. But it starts us off with clarity on that avatar. Some businesses may have 3 points of clarity on their client avatar. And it kind of seems like, oh, it's women business owners, maybe they make this amount of money or revenue, and they stop right there. And that is not enough information for you to be client obsessed. let alone is it enough information to to have client first clarity. I call it client first clarity because when you know your client well, you make decisions from that knowledge of your client. And see, I can tell that most of you don't know your client well because you're asking me how much stuff should be. You're asking me what I think about your offer and things like that, but you don't have enough clarity for me to just look at the strategy of it. Right. So my job is to look at the strategy of it. Your job is to look at your client and know them well enough to know what they want, what they don't want. And I can help you to take that knowledge and position it best. But a lot of you don't know enough about your client. So you come and you ask questions like, it's strangers. And they are strangers to you because you don't know them well. All right. So let me share my screen and share this document that helps with that. And if you get the show notes, there's a link to this document. Okay. So this document, I don't even know how many pages it is because up here it says this appears to be a long document. How many pages is this thing? I don't know. But when you're creating your client avatar, all right, your job is to know enough about them to know what they need, to know what to sell them, to get them to the transformation that they want. Okay. But even the nuances, you kind of know the answers to because you know your client. All right. So in your avatar, you need to know demographics, you need to know psychographics, you need to know buying behaviors and buying habits. This is how deep I need you to go. And this is the least depth you should know. Okay. You should take this depth and get to know even more stuff. Okay. I want you to think of it as if you were in a relationship with somebody and versus somebody who don't know you and they like, yeah, I bought you these flowers, not remembering that you allergic to flowers, but they think they did a good thing. Get to know them, okay, to where you can anticipate their needs. Because see, we always say those are the best type of romantic partners to have, the ones that not only know us, but they know us to a point that they can anticipate our needs. Before I start looking crazy and I start looking around and you hand me my glasses because you know that's what I'm looking for, right? I come downstairs, I'm looking crazy, you hand me a cup of my coffee, fix the just the exact right way. That's what I'm talking about. We need to have that type of relationship with our clients, but you can't have that type of relationship if you do not know them. All right. So let's get into it. Demographics. These are human traits such as age, race, gender, income, location, size, economic status, education. Most of you stop right here with your knowledge of your client. And like I said, you might know 3 to 5 things. Okay. Psychographics, we going a little deeper, right? So you need to know their attitudes, their aspirations, their social status, their daily activities, food habits, opinions on certain subjects, values, desires, goals, interests, lifestyle choices, and all of these things. Do you see how we're already going deeper beyond demographics? These are psychographics, okay? But even that is not enough when you are a business owner because then we need to know their behaviors, all right? Because demographics and psychographics, they drive behaviors. So, how humans respond to internal and external stimuli, okay? Through what they do, what they say, facial expressions, body language, whatever. So, for example, I know that my ideal clients are busy, ambitious, cautious, conscientious, creative, curious. And guess what? All of that probably describes all of you because that's what I know about my ideal clients. Okay. In some kind of way, they're these things as a behavior. All right. The next thing, buying habits. You need to know, are your ideal clients spendthrifts? Like, are they budget? You know what I'm saying? Are they kind of cheapskates? Are they shopaholics? Are they seasonal buyers? Like they only buy when they get their income tax, or they only buy after Christmas, or they only buy at the start of spring or something like you need to know, are they seasonal buyers? Are they cultural buyers? Okay. Are they only buying things that fit into their culture or the way they think, their beliefs? Okay. You need to ask about that. Or do beliefs and culture impact how they buy? Not that they just always only buy things in that area, but does that impact? Right. Because I'm going to tell you, most of the time when people are selling me something, especially for my business, I look and see, am I represented in your marketing? Because if I don't see faces that look like me, I'm going to go find somebody that's catering to faces that look like me. Okay. So that's an example of cultural buying. Okay. Credit users. All right. You need to know if your ideal client is a credit user. Mine don't necessarily tend to be, because they're kind of using credit for other things. So they're less likely to use credit for my retreat. They're less likely to use credit for my high ticket offers. They rather wait till they get a windfall because they have other things weighing on their credit, as most of them. Very few of them need that third party funding. They're just not willing to do it. And in this economic situation we got going on, they're even less likely to do it. So what I know is I'm about to get this retreat stuff ready for Halloween, going through Black Friday, going through Christmas, going through when you get your income tax. Okay. So that you need to know that though. Or otherwise, what you're doing is out here selling your retreats, talking about it's going to be March, and then you only giving them 3 months to pay because you telling them about it on Christmas, right? And they need more than 3 months to pay this 4-figure opportunity. So you need to know that. Cash buyer, impulse buyer, uh, F FOMO buyer. Do they buy if they feel like they're gonna be left out? Some of y'all are like that. Some of y'all like, I'm not, you're not gonna leave me out this workshop because the last one was fire and you're not gonna leave me out of this one. And I don't want y'all talking about it. Cause see, every time you have a workshop and I done missed one and y'all start talking about it, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Now I feel like I should have been there. Okay. FOMO. So things like that are buying habits. So this is an example of one of my ideal client avatar profiles. Now, I always name mine. This is Gina. Okay. Gina is a female, 45 to 65, family oriented, income at least 75K from a job. Revenue in her business is 50K to $1 million. Career business oriented, in business 3 to 5 years. She's an independent decision maker in her business. That means she don't have a partner that has equal say or more say than her. Okay. Her psychographics are: she prefers online channels for communication. She tends to work banker's hours, unless in a niche professional career, like a career like a doctor, like Dr. LaFera. She is not going to necessarily work banker's hours all the time. Maybe most of the time, but maybe not all the time. Personal goals: to look and feel good, healthy quality of life, semi-luxury living, busy, so wants time freedom, experience centric. She like to experience. She like things that's not ordinary. She like things that make her feel special. It was an experience for her to talk about. She likes to travel. All right. Business goals: she is career industry in her career and industry of choice. Okay. Like she is working, she has a nice career in what she wanted to do. However, she needs more independence. So she'd rather have her own business to use her creativity and expertise. All right. She wants to be looked at as though she's a leader and an authority. She is ambitious to be the best in class with her business. She don't want to just have a business. She want to be looked at as the choice for her industry, in her niche. She does golf course type networking and connections, right? So she don't just be, in different little places handing out cards. No, she goes in social settings where there's a gathering of her ideal clients. Okay, so she does that golf course type thing. A large network to add to their net worth. They understand the value of being connected to more and more people, whether they are the ideal client, whether they are not an ideal client, but they like them enough to refer people to them, or they like to have a lot of laterals in their network, which is other people with other kinds of businesses, so that they can have partnerships and collaborations. All right. So those were demographics, psychographics. Let's get into some more psychographics. Positive thinking. Her positive thinking looks like she's most likely the nurturer of her family's needs and wants. She is a priority to purchase their She is a priority purchase their type of recreation. So as a priority, she purchases their type of recreation, not necessarily hers. She don't always put herself first, right? Desires, enjoys companionship. So she could be married, or she could be in a relationship, or simply like relationships. Like if she's not in one, she's open to being in one. She's not one of those that's like, oh, I don't need to be in a relationship, even if she happens to not be in one. Okay. Spends time developing to stay current and ahead of her knowledge base. So she's not just an expert and don't keep up on what's going on. And she's always trying to learn things to make her business better, to make her service better, things like that. Okay. Her negative thinking, she takes the position of ultimate decision maker for the family. Even if there's another authority figure there, she tends to bear the weight of making decisions. All right. She can be closed-minded. Things like if the information isn't presented right to her, she ain't really trying to hear it. Right. She's one of those people that think that there's a way to do things that is better. And if you don't do things that way, she don't be bothered. So she might be one to call it ghetto or low class or cheap or, your service is not for me just based on that Canva graphic. Okay. So she's like that. Um, she is sometimes puts the research before the people. Okay. So sometimes she goes out, she's trying to get information on how best to service her client. But instead of her using what she knows about her client to make the decision, she just goes off what the research is showing her. She's not catering that research to her ideal client because she gets mixed up in all the things she got to do. So she like, oh, well, let me try what they doing, not converting it and customizing it for who her clients are. All right. She most often there is a singular focus that leaves out a lot to be considered, right? Because she busy. So when it comes down to trying to focus on something, she don't really pull in a lot of other information. She like, let me just get this done. Okay. So that's why a lot of you, when you're doing your offers, you get caught up on the features and you forget to bring in the emotional stuff, the experience stuff, and all the other stuff. Okay. Some of her behaviors uh, for technology and browsers. She likes the latest mobile, maybe not right now the one that, but she got, within the last 2-3 years of the mobile phone. She liked things like Apple Pay and things like that as convenient payment gateways. She loves a rewards program, like let's just say Starbucks. Okay. She uses Google a lot. We're going to go ahead and add Chat GPT to this to update it. She used YouTube a lot for her technology. Daily preferred online channels. She's social. She likes Facebook as her top. She likes Instagram as her secondary. Platforms like LinkedIn and stuff like that, she don't really look at that as anything other than professional for her career. She don't necessarily look at it as something for her business, unless she's doing like corporate contracts. External, top industry publications, online and podcasts. So in her niche and for business growth, she's looking at different publications, maybe like Entrepreneur Magazine, Fast Company. So it's not that she has a subscription, it's that if she sees an article of interest, she will read it from one of those types of publications. Okay. But she's also listening to podcasts or online summits and conferences and things like that. News reading, top respected publications, online, offline, television, and colleagues. Okay. She trusts more information from her colleagues who have either been there, done that, or at a higher level than her than just seeing some arbitrary information. All right. Buying habits, content sources for buying, decision making. Uh, if she see it on, so you can't just give her a website. She gonna go on Facebook and look it up and see when the last time they post. Is this a real business? Has anybody said anything about them? She gonna go to Facebook and look because that's her primary platform. Okay. External, she like to look at reviews and podcasts to kind of help her with buying decisions. So when I say podcast, I'm talking about when they're talking about different, like if she's saying, oh, okay, I hear people talking about go high level, but let me see what the reviews are and let me see what these business folks is talking about on these podcasts. What are they using? Are they using go high level? Things like that. Offline, word of mouth from her trusted network. Okay. That helps her to make a buying decision. Buying process. She is positioned for done with you services or high high level DIY, do it yourself services, not just shit. A PDF is not going to be enough. Now, I'm not telling you she's not going to buy a PDF, but what I'm telling you is she understands that's not going to solve her problem, but she's going to buy that PDF to see what is the quality of your work. Like, how much quality did you put on this low level? Let me see if you're worth taking a risk to go on a higher level. Okay. Values word of mouth that matches the research that she has found. She Googles, she visits websites, she views social media. She will definitely compare value and price and treats products and services as a commodity. So if you have not built a brand where she feels like it'll be better coming from you, then she's going to price compare your ass is what she going to do. Okay. That's treating you like a commodity. So if she don't feel like that you have built authority with her and she feels like you're the one that can help her, then it's just a service and she just needs the cheapest one. She just needs to save money on it and get it done. Okay. She values educated influence. All right. She values people who know they shit, basically. Buying team. Her stakeholders, they don't necessarily help her to make a decision or she has to get approval, but she always has in mind how things are going to affect her spouse, her companion, and her children. Okay. Her internal influencers. She is very much one of those people who are influenced on how they were raised. So parents, that could be a positive influence where they want to be just like them, or it could be a negative influence where they want to be the opposite, right? And close siblings. So not just siblings, but a close one. Okay. External influencers, social circle, professional circle, niche industry circle. All of those people have an impact. Okay. What are they doing that I should be doing? What are they doing better than me? What are they doing worse than me? They're always looking at that. Okay. It may not have a huge impact, but they looking. Who approves the decision? She is the head decision maker unless she's married and potentially even then. All right. Okay, buying habits continue. What's her buying time? Well, she does have a seasonal pattern. Her family needs are going to impact her, we're going to say high ticket purchases. Okay, so most of my clients have family with children that are still in school. Okay, or grandchildren that they are heavily supporting. And so if they are in school, they're not going to make any high ticket purchases around back to school time. They're too busy investing in the kids at that time. All right. They also have monthly and quarterly asset check-ins that impact buying decisions. So my clients tend to think at the top of the year, they tend to think, how should I be reorganizing my business? Half of the year, they tend to be thinking, oh, I ain't did none of these goals. I need to do better starting now. I only got, the year halfway over. So she thinks about things like that, and that impacts her purchases. So common barriers related to timing, availability to work more hours in her business. Okay. She not going, she know what she need to do, but she might not do it if that career is taking over or them soccer games is taking over for them kids. She going to put that business last. Okay. Lump sum payouts and purchases. So if she has done that back to school stuff, or she has done the had to pay for the child's college or something like that, that's gonna impact whether or not she invests in herself or her business. Miscellaneous stuff about her. She can be sold on TikTok, but only through entertainment and lifestyle stuff. Okay. The way I present stuff, she don't like the way I'm on TikTok, right? Unless I switch it around and talk about how I travel, then she's gonna be interested in how am I traveling and got a business and how does my business pay for my travel. That'll get her. But if I just go on there like we do the morning show and I say, hey, we're gonna talk about ideal clients to better your business, she don't want to hit it on TikTok. Okay. Another thing is she has a heavy push on lifestyle with a target on freedom that drives her because of her age group, right? She's kind of always thinking, if I don't start living the life I want now, then when will I? Because she has more years behind her than she has in front of her. Okay. So this is what I know about my ideal client. And so when you get this, you have room, you can use mine as an example, and then you have room to kind of do your own. Okay. And I give you access to a past training that I did and a past worksheet, and all of that together, you should be right with your ideal client. All right. Cool. Now, guess what? Those aren't even the strategies. Okay. Those are not even the strategies. So let's get into the strategies. But I wanted to start there because if you don't know your ideal client, none of this other stuff is going to work. Because if you don't know your ideal client, you're clearly not obsessed with your ideal client. I want you to think about a stalker. Okay? A stalker is obsessed with who they are stalking. They know a lot about who they're stalking, right? They tend to know what time of day they do what route they take to go where, how they tend to like to dress, the foods they tend to like to eat. They really are obsessed. That's how obsessed you need to be with your ideal client, okay? But now that you know who that person is, because you're going to do the work, we're going to go into your strategies. Okay, so these are strategies, 10 top strategies for client first clarity in long term thinking that will increase your revenue or that pays. Okay, number one, number one, architect offers around emotional endings. Now, last week we talked about emotional messaging, right? But we were primarily talking about marketing, which is how you attract them to the offer, okay? What I'm talking about here is thinking about the emotions they want to feel that's associated with the transformation they're going to get to make sure the service is where it needs to be for them. Okay. So don't sell deliverables, sell emotional closure, but the client should finish your program feeling resolved, feeling relieved, feeling renewed. They should be in the transformation and be feeling the emotions that they would rather feel rather than those negative emotions that drove them to get out of pain. Okay. So transformation sticks when emotion closes the loop. An example: a leadership coach doesn't end sessions with strategies. She ends them with the client saying, I finally feel progress with the understanding and confidence I want to portray with my leadership. So you see how that transformation is in there. It's not, you can't just be focused on the deliverables. You can't just be focused on getting them through the phases of the service. Be focused on, are they feeling the progress of that transformation emotionally through the journey of you servicing them and toward the end. Okay. So that was architect. And I purposely didn't just say build offers because I want you to remember this: architect offers around emotional endings. Okay. Number two, become the historian of their transformation. Now, what do I mean by that? I want you to track and celebrate every measurable and emotional milestone. Now, you're going to do this both generally, where you know how what the average client going through your service is feeling and what their milestones are, and specifically for each of your clients, so that clients feel devotion when you document their growth better than they do. Okay. So, for example, a business consultant creates a client growth chronicle that showcases the before and after of an average client, but as well as the specific data of each individual client, reinforcing the transformation and encouraging those testimonials that will inspire future clients. Okay. That was become the historian of their transformation. Number three, personalize progress like a signature. Okay, so long term loyalty is built when systems make every client feel uniquely understood. So, whereas number two was about making sure you understand what their before and after is like, this one, number three, is more about the journey in between. Okay, so long term loyalty is built when your systems make every client feel uniquely understood. Clients should believe she built this just for me. So, example, a systems strategist sends personalized performance summaries, naming the client's specific achievements and how they align with the long-term vision they first shared to come into the service. All right. So hopefully you see the difference between number three and number two. So that was personalized progress like a signature. Number four, solve their silent fears, not just their stated goals. What we understand is that what a client says and what is unsaid both are important. And guess what? You don't know the unsaid if you don't know your client avatar. So when you know your client avatar well, you understand some of the unsaid. I just gave you a detailed profile, and some of that is stuff that you understand. This is not anything they're going to verbalize unless they see our understanding. And then they're going to say, you know, I was kind of scared to do that, whatever. And you gave me support on that. And that just made it easier for me to get it done. That's the kind of response that you want. But clients rarely say what they're truly afraid of losing. Anticipate their hidden anxieties and design your service to neutralize those anxieties without the need for them to be voiced. Okay. So for example, a service provider builds in an extra round of revisions because they know, listen to this one, Keith, the fear isn't the logo, right? They asking about them colors and try to get it just right. It ain't about the logo. What you know is the unsaid thing is they don't want to look unprofessional in public. Okay, that's the unsaid thing. Keith said yes, yes. All right, so that will solve their silent fears. Number 5, invest in their future identity. Now, we talked about identity a lot last week and the emotions around them. All right, but stop only, I'm not saying don't, but stop only reinforcing the client's current version of themselves. We do want to tell them the pain they in. We do want to tell them this is who you are that you don't want to be, right? But speak, plan, and build as if they're already primed to be who they want to be. Because see, if you keep harping on who they are right now, they might lose hope. They might not be motivated. They might feel like this ain't going to work for them. Okay. So yeah, we're going to identify that, but we're going to spend more time on letting them know, oh, you can be who you want to be. Right. You're just this step away, or it's not your fault. You just don't have this. Okay. That kind of languaging. All right. So this earns fierce loyalty. So an example is a fitness coach congratulates clients in advance for seeing the small changes on the way to their big goals, framing them as more of their future selves now. Okay. Cool. So that was invest in their future identity. Number 6, make loyalty a status symbol. Okay. We talked about status when it comes to how people identify. Okay. But transform staying with you into a privilege, not an option. Okay. Recognition deepens commitment more than discounts ever could. I don't just have y'all on here. I recognize y'all for who y'all are. Okay. I don't just call you by name. I'm going to call you by business. I'm going to call you by your business obstacles. I'm going to call you by your business successes, all of those things. Right. So you guys don't show up in the morning with your time just because I know your name. Just because you have a business that need what I got. You showing up in this morning because I built loyalty in you. And that loyalty, I give you status based on it, right? I heavily recognize you. There are a lot of people that watch this morning show. I don't know their names. I don't know their business. Or there are people that show up a few times, but guess what? The more you show up, the more I'm going to recognize you. The more I'm going to take the time to invest in knowing more about you and your business. Some of you have been with the morning show long enough to see new people come in and then become one of the group, right? Cool beans. So an example of that is a marketing agency gives multi-year clients legacy partner perks like priority support, early access, or private consulting, turning loyalty into aspiration. Now, you've seen me put that into play, right? You've seen me put into play with tiers of discounts. However much you invest in yourself and me, I try to give you recognition on those levels. So guess what? If you join my community, your discount level is right here. If you're a paid member, your discount level is above that. If you are a client that spent 4 figures, oh, ain't no discount. You can just come on. Just come on. Come on, girl. We having this. Okay. So that is status, but it's built around discount. But it also looks like the person up here that has spent 4 figures or more can hit me up on WhatsApp and say this, and this. Okay. The person in the paid membership can hit me up on the Slack channel and say, hey, this, and this. Okay. The person in the free group can put a comment. So I want y'all to see it's discounts and it's more. All right. So that was make loyalty a status symbol. around being connected to you. Number 7, engineer predictable wow moments. Okay, so plan reoccurring points of surprise, gratitude, or reflection that remind clients why they chose you. It's about thoughtful gifts with emotional timing. Okay, now this may be something that you do individually for higher ticket clients, but you can do it for groups too. Okay. But an example, a service provider sends handwritten notes halfway through an engagement or a service, providing a service, referencing an early fear the client has already conquered. Okay. Now, again, you can do this as a group. If you're taking people through phases of coaching, you can remind them where they started, and we can have a day where we're celebrating that, right? If it's an individual and you're doing a service, yeah, halfway through the service, you could say, hey, we're not done yet, but do you understand how much clarity you have on all of these things? And now making decisions for your business is going to be easier. You're already at that point, right? So that's just an example. And that was engineering predictable wow moments. Number 8, keep a running ledger of promises fulfilled. Okay. Most clients forget 70%. And I was being on the low end because most of them might forget 80 to 90% of what you've done for them. Okay. Keep a transparent, visible record of every fulfilled deliverable and transformation milestone. For example, a digital strategist creates a project board that has completed wins and upcoming goals. Okay. And she's showing the client the return on investment of staying in the partnership with them. Okay. So I want you to think about that. Now, we've talked before about weekly reports, right? About where they are. But you need somewhere where you're showing them everything across all the weeks that has been done and the goals that have been achieved. Okay. So the weekly report is great so they can know where they are right now. But I need them to also know the overall scope of how much value you've brought them. All right. So that was keeping a running ledger of promises fulfilled. Number 9, design every touch point to feel like care, not just contact. Okay, so your communication cadence should make clients feel watched over, not managed. Long-term relationships thrive on emotional presence. I have a past blog post where we talked about touch points that I have hyperlinked so that you can go back to it. But as an example, a project manager sends monthly progress gratitude messages that highlight wins rather than just pending tasks. So with that weekly touch point, you don't have to just say this is what we done and this is what we're gonna do. You can say, hey, this is what I'm thanking you for this week. Okay. Or this is why I like working with you. All right. So a touch point that shows care. Number 10, build predictive empathy into your operations. Okay. So don't wait for feedback, forecast it. Use past client behavior to anticipate needs before they even articulate them to you. So that's when clients start to call you indispensable. All right. When you understand things so much that you see stuff coming that they either haven't even had time to see, or they haven't had time to express, or they don't even know nothing about that. Okay. Example, reaching out just before seasonal overwhelm hits with a proactive audit offer for what they may need because you remember their pattern from last year. Okay. So that could be if I'm working with a product-based business, I could tell them, hey, Black Friday coming up, and last Black Friday, these were the problems that we have. So how about we do this Black Friday? And my client may not even be thinking about Black Friday yet, right? So that's just an example. So those were the 10. And then I give you a chat GPT prompt, okay, where you're going to teach it about your clarity statement, your niche ideal client, and your niche offer. And you're going to say, use this information to recommend at least 3 strategies each for how I can infuse heavy client obsession for long-term thinking that results in fanatical clients and abundant revenue with the following. And you're going to put in all 10 of the strategies that we just talked about. And I think you're going to enjoy what it kicks back out for you. Okay. So I also have a past blog post on here from the week that we talked about how to niche down. So if you don't know how to niche down to get your clarity statement, if you don't know how to niche down for different things, we take you back to that blog post. All right. I think I got some other old blog posts in here. Did I tell y'all about those? Yeah. So I've also given you a blog post on client retention and on client experience in these show notes. Today's show notes is the bomb. All right. Now, I hope y'all got a little more time to spend with me because we got 3 questions today. All right. So the 3 questions, let me grab them. There you go. In studio, y'all got time to be looking it over. Let me go ahead and get YouTube. Y'all know I gotta break it up for YouTube. I told y'all we had a lot to cover today because I want y'all to understand how knowing this ideal client to such a degree can really drive your business growth and really drive that revenue you want that business to bring in. Because the better you know somebody, the better the relationship with them is. All right. So the first question is, now that you've seen the deep dive on creating the ideal avatar that I did at the beginning, what are some things you know you need to add to your ideal client profile? Okay. Just name one thing. Number two, what are you currently doing that could qualify as being client obsessed? Number three, which one of the strategies from the 10, okay, do you feel like is going to be game changing for you to be more client first for your profit? All right. We're going to start with Dr. LaFera, but I'm going to go back through the 10 really quickly. I'm not going to give you any detail. I'm just going to name the strategy because we spent a lot of time on each one. Number one, architect offers around emotional endings. Number two, become the historian of their transformation. Number three, personalize progress like a signature. Number four, solve their silent fears, not just their stated goals. Number five, invest in their future identity. Number six, make loyalty a status symbol. Number seven, engineer predictable wow moments. Number eight, keep a running ledger of promises fulfilled. Number nine, design every touch point to feel like care, not just contact. Number 10, build predictive empathy into operations. So, Dr. LaFera, number one, now that you've seen the deep dive on creating your ideal client avatar, what's something you know you need to add to your profile for them? Number two, what are you currently doing that could qualify as client obsessed? And number three, which one of the strategies you think is going to work well for you?
Good morning. I would say that what I am currently doing is I'm trying to solve unsaid fears. And so that's that one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Number two.
let's see what I am. Let's see. Mm, that's what I'm currently doing. I guess what I'm gonna do more of. I tried to write these questions down. What I'm trying to do more of is like the language. Architect offers around emotional language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I have seen. Mama. I'm very clinical in how I talk, and Mama, I need to do better about that. And I can't remember the last question because I was trying to remember the first two.
That was good. So those were the second two. So the first one was just now that you've seen the deep dive on creating the ideal client avatar, what are some things you need to add to your ideal client profile?
Mama, can you buy me lip gloss?
Tell
Yeah, I'll
Lauren
buy
we
you
said
lip
no.
gloss. um,
Tell Lauren we said no.
yeah, like I'm gonna do all of these a lot better. I'm gonna go back through my offer.
I think she
Um,
distracted you. So the only question you
she
didn't
did.
answer was that deep dive I did on the client avatar. Was there
Mm-hmm.
something in that deep dive you know you need to add into your knowledge of your ideal client?
Well, yeah. Definitely more emotional language.
Mm-hmm.
Talk more about the historic transformation. So number two. So like all of them are good, and I'm gonna look and see how I can put all of them in there.
Okay, cool beans. Thank you for that. Let's go to Dr. Latoya. Dr. Latoya, first of all, now that you've seen that deep dive on creating your ideal client avatar, what are some things you know you need to add to that ideal client profile? Number two, what is something you're doing right now that could be considered as being client obsessed? And number three, which one of the strategies from the 10 do you think will work well for you?
Well, I had the privilege of having my deep dive client avatar with you. But one of the things that I do is I do go back often and
Mm-hmm.
make sure that it's still accurate or if I need to update anything, particularly since we originally kind of did that deep dive, I've
Mm-hmm.
switched my positioning. But
Yes.
the avatar has remained the same. Like nothing in those things have, like that's still my person.
Yes.
Um, so I find it highly valuable. And I do, like I said, I go back and just make sure that it's still accurate or if I need to update anything. I like of the things, oh, what am I currently doing to make me a stalker at this point? Nothing. Um, I probably should find something that I can do. And actually, this goes into part of what my social media person is telling me, like that it's important for us to, acknowledge clients on social media and be like, good job, so proud of you, that type of thing. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
no. But I'm gonna embrace all of this that you're saying and figure out how I can make it feel authentic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the two strategies are keeping the running catalog
Mm-hmm.
and the future self, like leaning into the future version of their self.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you with the, like when you gave the example of the social media and recognizing people, basically, I want you to have in your mind that hierarchy, right? Who are the people that are your ride or dies? You want to give them the most of your attention because they've earned it. You know what I'm saying? The other people you might say hi to as they come into the room or whatever, or they come on the live, you might want to say hi or they comment, you might want to like it. But the people that are your ride or dies, those are the people that you give specialized comments to, customized responses to. You see what I'm saying? Because what you want to do is you want to have the people that have not invested a lot in themselves through you to want to be like those people that have. And it looks more than just they paid their money and got a transformation. It looks like belonging.
Yes,
It looks like
that
recognition.
okay. That makes sense. Yes,
Hmm.
thank you.
So that's all that is. You don't have to, I don't feel like you have to do any more that's going to hit your quality of life. It's just being more strategic on who you talk to and how you talk to them. That's all. Cool beans. All right, let's go to Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, number one. Now that you've seen a deep dive on creating your ideal client avatar, what are some things you need to add to your client profile? Number two, what is something you're currently doing that could be deemed as client obsessed? And number three, which one of the 10 strategies do you know will work well for you?
So for number one, in lieu of some of the things that are happening now, I think going back and looking at the client avatar, it would be helpful because now there are developments that are, oh, this person is also part of the avatar too, whereas before I wasn't necessarily thinking that way. So I think I just need to go and review, even though it hasn't been a long time since I've reviewed it,
Mm-hmm.
current situations are deeming that that needs to happen. So that's number one. Number two, I think when, for example, when it comes to the network and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I do periodic professional development sessions,
Yes.
that is client obsessed, if you ask me.
And I also feel like what's client obsessed is that you in the beginning showed up to everybody's live premiere of their shows. Like not the maybe not the encore season, but the first season, the first releases of episodes, you were there. And to me,
I'm
that
still
was
there.
client obsessed.
I'm still there at everybody's show.
Yes, just saying. So yeah, I think that's it. And which one of the strategies did you say out of the 10 that you think will
Oh,
work well?
I didn't yet. So
Okay.
I think, oh, yeah, investing in the future identity.
Mm, yep. I can see that. I can see that a lot. But I also feel like that development is also doing double duty for the client obsessed and investing in their future self. Uh,
Ah,
because without that training, it may be harder for them to get to be that future self. So I
oh,
think that's
okay.
doing double duty.
That's true.
You can just find more ways, but when you're talking about it, you pull that in as one of the ways you're helping people to get to where they want to go.
Okay. Thank
Cool
you.
beans. I love it. So, do you ladies have any questions on what we're talking about just doing this deep dive into who the ideal client actually is, but on a way, 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 way deeper level. And the first round of how we can infuse that knowledge to guide us on long-term thinking. Do you have any questions, value adds, or aha moments, Dr. Tachi?
Yes. So, just in your opinion and your estimation, for the US, with
Mm-hmm.
what's happening now and people having a fear
Mm-hmm.
of probably investing in things,
Yes.
what are some or a tactic you would use in order to keep that on track? Because this, not that it came up all of a sudden, but to people who weren't paying attention, it did. So,
Mm-hmm.
what would you suggest?
I would suggest a few things. Number one, I kind of mentioned it when I was talking about the retreat that I'm having. But if you know you have a high ticket thing, or even if you know you have some type of membership where they would pay every month, you know income tax time is coming. So you might want to say, hey, here, this is where you might want to invest in yourself while you're getting a windfall. And that monthly thing is where you might want to say, hey, this is where you can go ahead and pay for the year and save money. So that's one of the ways, right? Another way is not just when we talked about yesterday in the workshop optimizing our offer. A part of that, and some of you may have heard it as making your offer irresistible. Some of that is going from the offer being getting them from A to B, period. I'm gonna get you the transformation, all right, and that's what you're going to pay for. But the bonuses that make it irresistible are tools that make that process easier, or tools that make that process optimize or maximize or tenfold in transformation. Because if people think that, hey, I need that, I'm gonna pay for it, I have to pay for it anyway, but now I'm gonna get all of this too for the price I would have paid for what I needed anyway. I think that's another way for people to feel like it's worth investing in, even in these times. Because at the end of the day, things are not necessarily a money objection, right? It's a priority objection where I don't see the value in what you're trying to sell me in that enough to where I'm willing to invest in it, right? Because we spending money on things we shouldn't be spending money on all the time. We're spending money on things we want versus what we need all the time. So money is there, but if you want money to be reallocated to what you're selling, then you have to make it a value to them, a high perceived value to them. And guess what? You can't do that if you don't know them. Does that make sense, Dr. Tachi?
Yes, lots of sense. Thank
That
you.
was good, and it really brought us back around to what we're talking about today. So I appreciate that, Dr. LaFera.
I was listening to what you were saying about stalking the the avatar,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at some of the stuff, thinking about what we did yesterday, and looking at things like buying habits and those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was thinking about this morning while you were going through yours is like,
Mm-hmm.
um, for me, the way that I do know more about the people that work with me is when they do come in challenges and stuff like that. And if I'm not making that offer, I don't have an idea of like how to how how to like know what they are. A lot of that stuff you put on the sheet, and not a lot, not necessarily a lot of it, but like the stuff you're talking about with the cards and like looking at people's websites. And I mean, looking at their websites to see if this is that way, and if it's not, then
Mm-hmm.
let me go and make this person commodity. This person now becomes commodity, and I'm going to look at who's the cheapest and all that type of stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you how do you look at a person that way unless you just go and find somebody who is your person, or you feel like it's your person and ask them this type of stuff?
Mm-hmm. So that's one way, right? To generally ask. You've seen market research questions. If I did this, would y'all do that? If I created this, what would y'all want in it? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
way. But that's a very general way, and that's not the way that's of most value. The way that's
Right.
of most value is you have somebody that's a client that you work with that is an ideal client. You need to be talking to that client and saying, hey, what made you buy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What made you invest in yourself through me, through what you saw, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, what makes you satisfied with this service? Like, what were the things that make you really feel like that was money well spent? What
Mm-hmm.
were some of the problems you had and I mean, we got you the transformation, thank you, hallelujah. But what were some of the things that were hard and made it, harder than maybe it had to be? Or what are some things you feel like would have been helpful if you had a had it?
Yeah.
Maybe you would have got your transformation faster, right?
Yeah.
Also, it's going to be when people are talking to you, you need to be focused on them. See, I'm obsessed about y'all. I really am. This is how I'm able to relate to y'all the way that I am. This is why I know y'all the way that I know y'all. I pay attention. I don't be on here just giving the show stuff and then letting y'all talk and I ain't paying attention to what you saying. And you know what I'm saying? I am
Mm-hmm.
building a profile on each one of y'all in my head so that when you come back and you say this, I remember when you said that. So I'm gonna bring you back to, hey, but what about this that you said, whatever. So you feel like I know you because
Yeah.
I do. You see what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I have to go to those people that I have done things with and just
Mm-hmm.
question them.
Yeah. And question
Yeah.
the people that you work with while you're working with them.
Right. Yeah.
Think about like I'm always getting feedback from y'all, right? I'm always getting feedback because I don't want to make decisions in a silo. I'm not sitting high looking low on y'all, right? This is a partnership. My expertise is only going to be as good as how you can use it. So I'm not better than you. I need you in order to service you better. So I'm
Hmm.
always asking y'all questions. How did this work for you? What was your favorite part about this? Did you see the value in? Yeah, it's so ingrained in how I talk to y'all. Y'all don't even realize it.
So okay. So then people who don't actually work with you yet,
Mhm.
and they're creating a business, like they don't have that. So then, what's the next best thing except for maybe like some websites that give you kind of general information? I guess that's all you have to go on. 'Cause that's
So
what it.
you have that general information, you have that market research where you're asking questions, you have that opportunity where you can do the same thing that big brands do and that
Yeah.
big law firms do when they have the mock trial to get information on how the real trial may go. You can do that type of thing too. So
Yeah.
I think I've shared with y'all before how I used to do when I put an offer together and I don't really have enough information to understand, is this gonna work? Is this gonna be everything they think they need? Do they see the value in it? I get a group of people together and I say, hey, I want to present this to y'all and I want y'all to help me to make it better. Now, I'm very strategic in who I pick because who I pick is going to be who I think is an ideal client for it, right? So by the time we get to the end of it, they're saying, hey, I need that. Yeah, I know. And then you just help me to perfect it. So what sales objection could you have? It got everything in it that you say would make it better. So how could you say no? Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Anybody else? Dr. Latoya, do you have a question or a value add or aha moments?
No, sorry, I'm in the dentist's office.
No problem. No problem. All right. Well, let's go to our announcements. What's happening this week? Tonight, it's Monday night from 5 p.m. Eastern Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Time is a Get Shit Done work session for the paid membership only. We invite the free people a couple of times a month, but there are way more for the paid membership. So if you want to be in the paid membership, go to shakehannon.com/membership for this and more as value. On Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, it's going to be our movie club night. That's for everybody. I am going to put in the free group the information on the movie. I'm still trying to decide if you have a recommendation on a movie you think we can pull a whole bunch of business nuggets out of. Hey, inbox me and I'll consider it. All right. But I'm going to put that information in the free group soon. All right. Save the dates. Save the dates. I want you to save November 12th and 13th. Why? because those are our final live broadcast episodes for the morning show before it goes away. Okay. During that week, on both of those days, what we're going to do, well, first of all, the first 2 days, that Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be out for the Veterans Day holiday. But on Wednesday and Thursday, the 12th and the 13th, we're going to do that one thing live coaching as our last morning shows, where you guys will bring me the one thing you think is in the way of you making your first six figures or six figures and beyond. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. But on the 13th, we're going to infuse at the end of the live coaching a farewell to the morning show. All right. So that's what we are doing. So save the dates: November 12th, November 13th. All right. Also, that week on November 15th, we're doing our our winter boot camp intensive, where we are going to do our annual planning for 2026, but our focus is on your big fat money year. Okay. We're going to plan it, and we're going to plan it in detail to where you know what you should be doing, what your goals are for the year, how we breaking that down in the quarter, how we breaking that down in the month, how we breaking that down to the week, and how we're breaking that down to the days in the week. Okay. We're going to go that extensive with your planning, so that you have an outline that you can adjust all throughout the year, but you have an extensive plan to start your year. All right. So that's what we're going to do on November the 15th. I should have that link ready for you guys on next week. All right. And with that, this has been the Her First Six Figures Morning Show, which is more of an interactive and coaching experience as part of our free business mastermind group that positions Black and brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money and create time freedom. All right. So if you want to know more about me, your host, Shay Cannon, plus get links to resources like how to join the free business mastermind group and how to get the show notes from today that were extensive, and past recent episodes, go to the description below to get that kind of information. All right. If you have not already, give me a thumbs up and like this episode. But also, I want you to subscribe to the channel. Just because the morning show is ending does not mean I'm not going to give you value through this here YouTube channel. So you do not want to miss it. You also don't want to miss what kind of value that's coming up that's going to be new and of value to you. So subscribe to the channel. Also, understand that today's video is going to be one out of a 4 video series. So make sure you check out the other videos. And with that, the studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you right